You've met someone like this. They're not trying to impress anyone. They're not trying to win the room. They're not constantly updating their personality to match whatever's popular this week. And somehow, they look lighter. Not because their life is perfect, not because they've figured it all out, just because they don't care in the way most of us care. And if you're being honest, a part of you envies that. Not loudly, secretly. Because it's not the not caring that feels powerful. It's the peace that comes with it.
They have an internal compass. A lot of people think not caring means being cold, but most of the time it's the opposite. People who don't care about the usual noise often care deeply, just about different things. They tend to run their life on an internal compass instead of an external one. External compass says, what are people doing? What do people like? What's the safest version of me? Internal compass says, do I like this? Does this matter to me? Does this fit the kind of life I'm trying to build? That difference sounds small, but it changes everything. Because when you live externally, you're always adjusting. Your opinions become softer. Your choices become performative. Even your rest starts to feel like something you need to justify. But when you live internally, you move slower. You make decisions that aren't constantly being negotiated with the crowd. And over time, people can feel that. It reads as confidence, but it's really alignment.
They don't feed the invisible audience. Most of us live with an invisible audience in our pocket. Even when we're not posting, a part of the mind is quietly tracking. How does this look? Would this be impressive? Would anyone care? It's not vanity, it's conditioning. The modern world trained us to translate life into something shareable. But people who don't care as much tend to have less of that background performance running. A meal is just a meal. A weekend is just a weekend. A win can be private. A bad day doesn't need a caption. Their life stays more inside their body, and that protects their nervous system more than people realize, because constant performance creates tension, not loud tension, quiet tension, the kind that makes you feel restless even on a day when nothing is wrong. They don't have less emotion, they just have fewer emotional interruptions, and that's why they seem calmer. And this is where it gets interesting. It's not that they don't care, it's that they're not constantly paying a tax on their attention. Most people don't notice the tax because it's small. A glance, a check, a comparison, a tiny urge to keep up. But it adds up, and it changes your whole mood.
They're comfortable being unupdated. A big reason trends control people is simple. Trends promise belonging. If you dress like this, you fit in. If you talk like this, you're current. If you know this reference, you're included. So when someone ignores trends, it looks like confidence, but often it's something even rarer. They're comfortable being unupdated. They don't panic when they don't know what's going on. They don't feel behind when slang changes. They don't reshape themselves every season just to stay relevant. And that doesn't mean they never change. It means they change on purpose. They choose what enters their identity. They choose what stays. They choose what matters. That's why they can walk into a room and not feel the need to prove anything, because their sense of self isn't constantly being renegotiated. And yes, that can look like a superpower in a world that rewards constant reinvention. If you've ever wished you could care less, I don't think the real goal is becoming numb. The real goal is getting your attention back. Because when your attention belongs to you, you naturally care less about what doesn't matter. Not out of ego, not out of superiority, just because you're not being pulled in 10 directions at once. A simple place to start is noticing one moment a day where you feel yourself reaching to approval, reaching to keep up, reaching to stay visible. And in that moment, just pause. Not to judge it, just to see it. That tiny pause is how an internal compass starts forming again. And slowly, you become the kind of person who feels calmer, not because life got easier, but because your mind stopped running to the crowd every time it needed reassurance. That's the kind of not caring most people secretly want. Not emptiness, quiet, clarity, space, and a life that finally feels like it belongs to you. If you want to go a little deeper, I wrote a short free guide on keeping your head clear when everything is pulling at it. Links below. Take it only if you need it.